Good morning or good evening, everybody, depending on where you're joining us from this morning here in the United States. Welcome to our August webinar, which is going to walk you through how to maximize business performance using DSI's newest capabilities. We have a couple of speakers for you this morning. You're going to hear from our Chief Marketing Officer, Steve Maeglin, our Chief Technical Officer, Gordon Van Huysen, and Michael Brooks, one of our product managers, and they're going to walk you through some of the things that are new from DSI and how you can really relate them to your overall mobile strategy. So before we get started, a lot of you have joined us before for these webinars. We do have a couple of quick housekeeping rules. Your lines have been muted on entry, so if you do need to get a hold of us for any reason, use the chat feature. Unless it's a question about what one of our hosts is talking about, and then you can use the Q&A tool. If you need to get the attention of our host, that is Andrew Clark this morning. Other than that, we will be sending out a recording at the end of the presentation, and we hope that you enjoy it. And with that, I'm going to pass over to Steve Maeglin, our Chief Marketing Officer. Thank you, Steve.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everyone. Thank you very much for taking 30 or 40 minutes out of your day to spend with us. We really appreciate it. There's some exciting things to talk about today, and of course we want to start with the obligatory safe harbor statement. We are going to be making some forward-looking statements and some things that are directional in nature, and so we want to make sure that you understand that that is not commitment and that information is only as current as of today and should not be relied upon for making purchasing decisions. With that, I'll transition into an introduction. So today is really about some exciting new offerings and products that DSI is bringing to market. And we want to be able to set some context around the strategy behind not only what we're announcing today, but some of our future things, really around this idea of digital business and digital supply chain. So we continually hear from our customers about the challenges that they face that stem from manual, paper-based processes that really impede productivity. They're error-prone and they inhibit growth. And it's not just about digitizing or automating a process. That's really not enough. Business and your business is more complex than that. The reality is that people and inventory and resources and facilities and equipment and even suppliers and customers, they're all interrelated, interconnected, and frequently they're highly distributed. So it all has to work together, and there needs to be a very simple way to access, to aggregate, to present and interact and transact, as well as gain insights from the data that your business depends on. And in most cases, that data and information sits on a wide variety of systems, everything from one or more ERP systems or other systems of record to sensors on a machine or a device. And in order to grow and remain competitive, you need visibility to that information. You need to be able to optimize your business process. You need the ability to execute and transact business wherever and whenever it happens. And to get that requires becoming a digital business. So the market and the customer need that I've just articulated has really helped drive the evolution of our product strategy. Many of you know we've historically provided digital solutions focused on visibility, optimization, and execution within core manufacturing and distribution functions, a lot around inventory management, warehouse management, order management, helping to connect and streamline and automate and even accelerate processes for people who make and store and transport and sell and service things. And of course, that originated in our heritage of automated data collection solutions, and over the past several years has extended to include our mobile application development platform and associated apps and solution accelerators to extend those benefits to off-premise activities, including people who are off-premise, processes that occur and happen and are executed off-premises, and assets and inventory that are also not located within a central location. So with this new release and future releases, we will be able to further extend our solutions both upstream to suppliers and to producers, and then downstream to customers and end consumers, all in an effort to help our customers remove the impediments to growth by increasing the visibility to critical business information, optimizing business processes, and enabling business to be executed wherever and whenever it happens. And that full extension of those capabilities is what we're calling digital supply chain solutions, as hopefully evidenced in this graphic. So that's just a primer about where we're beginning to move the organization. I want to talk just really briefly at a high level about what you're going to hear from the team today. So Gordon is going to be talking about what's new in our DSI platform, 8.2. There's some really exciting announcements around Wire. He's going to talk about what that is and why it's important and what led us to build and integrate that technology, as well as a really phenomenal tool, DSI Cloud Connect, that will allow you to be able to get to the cloud very, very rapidly without having to upgrade your ERP if you don't want to do that. Michael is going to be walking us through some great new apps, including our product locator app and our survey app, and we'll be talking through some specific use cases about why you might want to be able to, or how you might be able to deploy those to be able to increase business results. And then we're very excited to talk about our new cloud-based solution and a significant extension of our current inventory management solutions. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Gordon to talk about our platform.
Thanks, Steve. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, I'm going to talk about two different areas, two of the major new areas with respect to our mobile platform. The first I wanted to talk about is Wire. Steve mentioned customer engagement. One of the challenges that we see in the market today is, in today's era of mobility, connectedness, and instant information, how can you engage your customers in an optimal way and in a way that's better than your competitors? And the expectations there have become quite significant. Today's customer, whether a consumer or a B2B customer, demands a rich mobile experience. They fully expect that the apps that they receive will have the look, feel, and polish of consumer-facing apps from the largest consumer brands. But in reality, for full engagement, what they expect is actually even more than that. Whether they're literally asking for it, what they really need are apps that are increasingly directly woven into the supply chain and into supply chain execution. So why is that? They need to know things like if an item is in stock locally so that they can go see it before they buy it, if it's clothing or something with an aesthetic value or a degree of finish. They certainly want to know if it's in local inventory if they want to go buy it and take it home. Certainly a particular favorite beverage, for example, where can I find that locally? And if the app they're using, the app you provide them, tells them it's there and it's not, they're not going to be very happy. They consulted with the app before they potentially took a 20-minute drive. In the hands of a B2B customer, of course, real-time inventory information is absolutely critical. And again, the expectation around the applications they use is that they will be really rich. Not just look nice, but have the fit, finish, and polish of a consumer-grade app. Individuals, customers, again, on both sides of that line, the consumer and B2B line, also expect to, in an instant, be able to see where the orders they placed are in the fulfillment process and in the delivery process. And increasingly, they may have the expectation that they can change the order if it hasn't been fulfilled, if the thing they order hasn't been configured, if it's somewhere in the distribution chain, where is it? If a change that I made to the order is going to delay my receipt of it, can I change the way that it's shipped to me? So there's an expectation not just to have this rich consumer experience that they become accustomed to through digital marketing and social media and things like that, but literally the app has to be woven into the supply chain. And that's why we're introducing DSI Wire. DSI Wire allows you to easily create cross-platform apps that have consumer-grade fit and finish and directly link them into the supply chain. It's based upon an XML language that's highly expressive and a language that's very easy for today's user experience and user interface and web designers and developers to use. And it allows them to build user interfaces that have all the visual and behavioral richness of custom native applications as if they've been built using Xcode, the Android SDK, etc. So cross-platform apps rapidly built that have that degree of polish, not just visually, but in terms of their behavior. Designers can easily specify things like blur, transparency, object order, object movement, animation, really easily by specifying just XML tags around the user interface items that are placed on the individual screens. In other words, all the dynamic subtleties that go into creating the look and feel of a modern consumer-grade app tied to touch gestures. It's a very, very fast way to get a rich user experience designed and into the hands of your users. And that speed isn't just about time to market. It also allows you to iterate on the design of the application to ensure that it's usable, that it meets the requirements and the expectations of your target user, whether they're internal, external, B2B, or consumer. And it's fully integrated into, before we get to that, what are the types of things that we imagine people doing with it? Next slide. So we mentioned B2B and consumer. While it's possible to build virtually any kind of consumer-grade application using Wire, why did we do it? Why is it integrated into the platform? We anticipate people building things like customer loyalty applications that have real-time inventory information within them, providing better field sales and B2B sales tools for use in B2B scenarios. So well-integrated product catalogs with rich media that also have inventory information, can tie back into product configurators, and can also be used in side-by-side selling scenarios. Quite often, either in industrial or consumer settings, there's an expectation that the salesperson can walk the customer through a series of options and configure a solution for them. And because of today's mobile environment and expectations around it in the mobile market, there's an expectation that those side-by-side selling apps will also have that great degree of polish. So DSI Wire is a great way to build those and then bind them into your supply chain applications and your supply chain execution. Next slide. And it's fully integrated in 8.2. Now, a UI or UX developer doesn't need to know everything else about the platform. They don't have to be an administrator. They don't even need to know how to use the flowcharting tool. But it is fully integrated into the platform. So what you'll see if you're familiar with our App Studio is a new editor tab for Wire built into the Application Studio with the XML language in it. And you can see color coding and all the things that you would expect in a modern IDE. You can call wires, which is what we would call the screens that leverage the Wire language from within the visual logic builder that you see up at the top, if you're familiar with that. If you're not, it's probably a good point to point out that we have a very visual way of building application logic. It looks like a workflow editor, but it's actually quite a bit more than that. You can build very, very rich business logic independent of the user experience and the interaction layer in the platform, and that interaction layer can be built in Wire or a combination of Wire and Forms using our Forms editor, any combination that you like. And the integration goes deeper too. You can call DSI subroutines built within our logic builder from Wire directly. You can evaluate DSI formulas from within Wires. So we invested in the integration up front in the initial release of this versus delaying that over several releases so you can get the full value of leveraging Wire within the platform. And of course, wires are deployed along with the rest of the DSI application in the 8.2 version of our container. The container is the piece that runs on the mobile device that hosts any number of DSI applications. The runtime engine for Wire has been integrated into that as well. So it's completely seamless. The user of the app will have no idea how it was built, whether you're using our Forms editor, Wire, or some combination, and the deployment model is exactly the same. So you get all the benefits associated with using our development, deployment, and management environment, complete security, full manageability of the apps. So you could think of it as an alternative to, but not a replacement for, the Forms editor. There are plenty of scenarios where the Forms editor is the most expedient way to build classes of user interfaces, There are plenty of users and customers and partners out there that are familiar with the forms editor, and that will be carried forward as well. So now you have two choices about how you build user interfaces, and again, you can even mix and match them within the same application if you like. And, oh, I should point out, it was on the first slide, actually. Steve mentioned the safe harbor statement earlier. The features that we're talking about with the platform are actually all shipping now. So this is all available now in the 8.2 version of the platform. Next slide. So shifting gears to talk about the cloud for a minute. One of the main benefits of using the cloud in enterprise settings is the ability to rapidly deliver solutions to either internal or external users. It eliminates a lot of the friction and complexity of enterprise-grade deployments. The complexity of configuring, deploying servers, infrastructure, knowing how to size those, getting the machines in place, setting up load balancers, all that goes away with the cloud. Yet connecting enterprise systems to the cloud has historically still been painful, time-consuming, and complex, kind of blunting that cloud value proposition. So why is that important? Virtually all of the applications that we're talking about here need to connect to enterprise systems of different types, ERP systems, CRM systems, et cetera. If it still takes several weeks to connect those systems up to the cloud before you can get benefits of the cloud and the other capabilities that we're talking about with the platform, that's not all that great. And so that, though, has been the state of the art in the industry. You know, there are vendors that will go and mention that even with their own mobile application development environments against their own ERP systems, will hand you a 28-page PDF file of a bunch of manual steps, things to configure and configuration files, et cetera, before you can be up and running. And we looked at that and we thought there has to be a better way to do that. And the better way is DSI Cloud Connect. Cloud Connect comprises two different things. There's an on-premise gateway that has the connectors that connect into your systems of record, your ERP systems, et cetera. And it's also the communication gateway for any machine communication that may be happening within your organization. And you can think of that as the link between your on-prem systems and the DSI cloud. The other half of it, though, and what people often think of as DSI Connect, is the tool that allows you to connect those systems through the gateway up to the DSI cloud. And that's a wizard-based approach that lays out on the first screen all the prerequisites required and checks to see if they're there and lets you know if there aren't and where to go get them if they aren't there. And then asks you a set of very simple to answer questions about your deployment environment and what you're trying to do, even what solution accelerators and interfaces to back-end systems you might want to use. And then it deploys the gateway, configures the gateway, deploys the connector, and sets everything up so that you're immediately ready to start using solutions, either that you build or that you get from DSI. And it can literally take what has historically been a many-day and quite often few-week exercise and can reduce that down to 30 minutes if the prerequisites are there, and eliminates a significant number of errors that can happen behind the scenes. So we think of this as being quite innovative, and in our discussion with analysts, you know, we will certainly mention that point. And I've spent most of my career in the SOA infrastructure and integration space, and I've never seen anything like this. And I doubt you will see one from any other vendor in the mobile space. So that actually shipped prior to 8.2, but it's something that we really want to make you aware of in today's call, because it can significantly reduce the time that it takes to get up and running in a system that leverages your enterprise systems, but allows you to create much more agile new applications on top of them. So with that, I'll turn it over to Michael Brooks so he can introduce you to our latest app and solution offerings.
Thanks,
Michael?
Gordon. Welcome, everyone. The newest apps that we're looking at, all of these apps were designed and developed within our own tool. The DSI Product Locator app will give the capabilities of a search for a particular product or asset. All that information is controlled by the user, the customer. The user-defined search area can be specific to a region where you can set the geographical information yourself. It can be from 1 to X number of miles, something that is quite reasonable. The preloaded information is information that you would set up yourself to provide to whomever is going to be using the application. This could be from a user who wants to find a specific product, your product. This could also be from a particular regional director, if you will, who, let's say, just took over a particular area and is interested in visiting all of the locations that they are responsible for. This application, they could immediately after they get off of their plane, they can select this application that has been predefined and located and loaded with all of the information that he needs. He can take that, find all of the locations, use this application, which will also provide the directions to get to every one of the areas that he needs to take a visit to. And not only that, this application can be used on a retail version, if you will. For, let's say, for instance, you're in a shoe store and you're looking for a specific pair of shoes, and that store that you're in does not have them. But they're able to go to the application, source that pair of shoes from something within a 20-mile radius. At the end of that search, they want to ask you how well they did. There is also the ability to get social media, as you can see, Facebook, Twitter, email, and when you need the additional information from them, you can also extend the survey application. The DSI survey application is meant to provide immediate feedback to retailers, to persons who are out doing repair, so that they can immediately refer back to the issues or changes of things that they needed to actually go and do. What this does, this provides, it improves the reaction from the user to provide additional information for them to be able to respond to. So if, for instance, if you had a field service person and they were out conducting some warranty work, this would be able to, at the end of that warranty work, be able to ask the consumer how well we did, to also record the date that the warranty was taken, be able to also provide a discount to the person if they indeed are going to follow through with this survey. The person, the warranty person, can take a photo of the product that needs to be warranted and include that in this survey so that if they need to respond back to the customer, because the customer may decide, I don't agree with what you've actually said. Well, this is a protection for both, if you will. So this is our survey app. Let's move on to the next one. The inventory management solution. This is a cloud-based solution that provides the customer the ability to show the inventory, provide complete visibility through their supply chain. Mobile first, cloud-based inventory and material tracking system. What this says, this allows the operator the opportunity to go into the warehouse conduct the specific transaction that they need to do today without the need of using paper to go to the back office. This is allowing the execution to occur at the point of action, removing the need for a paper-based system. The item traceability and transaction serialization built into the system gives that customer, you, the ability to track lot-controlled, serial-controlled items that you may, at some point, need to make a recall on. So what it's doing is giving you the full track and trace capability of knowing what that product, if it's a component, what that product is going into that you're building, where that final assembly, that finished good, is being delivered to. So you can keep a full tracking and tracing of that product within this application. So that gives you an end-to-end supply chain visibility through cloud exposure. That end-to-end visibility lets you provide the customer, your supplier, visibility into what you are receiving or what you are providing without exposing your ERP system. So a use case for this, we have a dominant supply chain member or a large-scale corporation. That corporation maintains their system of record. It's their enterprise system of record that they do not want to expose to a supplier or to a customer. So we provided the ability to provide that type of visibility to a supplier, to a customer, and corporations that have a disparate systems be able to provide an end-to-end supply chain visibility to trading partners and to customers. This all is possible without exposing the information of the source ERP. Some additional use cases we have here. We have a small organization. Let's take an organization that needs to get themselves an inventory control system. They need to be able to barcode. There is a company that I won't name that everyone probably is familiar with that demands that everything that they do in terms of business is barcoded and barcoded in a specific way. This would give them the ability to not only be able to barcode their systems, be able to manage their inventory, and be able to do this with less expense, time, and cost to be able to get this up and running in a fairly quickly fashion. There are companies who also want to get into the WMS to manage and to optimize their particular warehouses. What this will enable them to be able to do, again, we look at resources, we look at expense, we look at time. A traditional implementation of a WMS system can be anywhere from 6 to 12 months. And I'm being a little generous here because it could even be longer than that. What I'm saying is for this, we are able to get you up and running in a much shorter time, less expense, and you don't have to go out and get a specialist or a specific resource to get this job done. We also provide the ability to get into your virtualized locations, which gets you the opportunity to have vendor-managed inventory and consignment inventory without, again, exposing your ERP system. If you have a 3PL, you have a 3PL that does not currently have access to your system. Why? Because you don't want to take the chance of them getting into your secure ERP system. This way, you can provide them access. They can process all of their transactions. They can run everything. It's still secure, and it goes out and updates your ERP system. It provides you everything that you are currently missing, what you want to have in terms of immediate response for transactions that are processed. So the initial list of transactions that we're looking at are the miscellaneous receipt, issue, adjustment, cycle count. Something I want to point out right here is the license plate processing. Traditional inventory management systems do not have license plate processing. A lot of you probably are aware of that. You need to, in order to get to license plating, you need to have advanced warehousing or WMS systems. We're providing it to you in the base inventory management system. The inquiry, lot and serial, and put away and pick. By the way, that product is expected to ship in the Q4, fourth quarter of this year. So
I just wanted to reinforce one point, if I could, and you probably were able to read this between the lines, but I just wanted to be very clear about it. The reason we see this as a cloud-based solution is that the inventory data is actually held in the cloud. And so that can give you a set of options. It can actually act as the system of record if there is no ERP system, one of the use cases that Michael mentioned. It can act as the source of truth if you don't want to directly expose your ERP system to a third party. And in multi-party scenarios, the case for many distribution chains, it can act as a single source of truth across multiple ERP systems that may be present in each of those parties. So how this differs from what you've seen in our solution accelerators in the past and other solutions on the market is that it does actually host the cloud data, the inventory data within the cloud, giving you that set of options.
Thanks, Gordon. Yeah. So if we look at the platform in summary as a whole, we can look and see that we have the cloud-based solutions. They're right along with our traditional apps, our solution accelerators, and coming analytics. The platform itself, as Gordon had mentioned before, you will see the DSI, the Cloud Connect. We still have our native enterprise connectors, and we have web APIs. The traditional method of processing transactions is still here, but we are also making sure that you're understanding and clear that we have a cloud-based solution that is using web services and being able to utilize the Cloud Connect, which gives you a very quick entry into the usage of the cloud-based solutions. As you can see, we have HTML5, iOS, Android, and Windows connectivity.
So this is Steve. I want to hand it back to Ruth to sort of close this off, but one of the reasons we wanted to land the plane with this diagram was to sort of introduce not just what we're sharing with you today, but that there's going to be a series of webinars that we're going to be doing about other components of this platform, analytics as an example. So we hope that you will join us for those upcoming webinars as well. Ruth?
Okay, thanks Steve. As Steve just mentioned, we do have a couple of webinars coming up for you, the next one being on October 7th, which is going to talk about our cloud solutions, and then the analytics piece will also be coming down the line, so keep your eyes peeled for that. We're very excited about it. If you do have any questions after today's webinar, reach out to your account executive. If you don't know who your account executive is or you don't have the information to hand, you can always use that info@dsiglobal.com email address. And we check them on a daily basis, so definitely use that in lieu of if you can't find the information that you need. So with that, we're going to move forward to a Q&A session. We have all of our presenters in the room, so feel free to direct questions to any of them using the Q&A tool at the top of your screen.
Okay, so there's a question, please advise regarding cloud solution apps pricing. Who wants to take that one? Yeah, so we have not, we haven't changed our core pricing model. There is a different pricing model, obviously, that will be coming out as it relates to cloud, and we will be publishing that, and I'm not even sure that we've announced that yet to the sales force. So
some of the pricing there, we've had some internal discussions regarding the pricing. We're looking at a method of being able to get you into this product at quite a reasonable rate. We haven't quite finalized that yet. There are a couple of other things, contractual things we have to go through, and we'll be able to get that information to you. The data center itself will be hosted at Amazon. We're using Amazon Web Services to, there was a question that was asked, where will the data centers be hosted? And the answer to that is Amazon Web Services is where we configured everything to run from.
So we have the ability to host in any of the geographical data centers that Amazon supports.
Okay, we just got a question through what security certification will be available specifically for public sector.
We've actually, this is a hard question because it varies depending upon whether it's the public sector, the government, or in regular industry. But we've taken a look at how we're going to be able to encrypt certain information. We can do that today. We've introduced in our latest release of our platform the ability to use what we call key data fields, which gives us the ability to go down to the option level to provide specific security. I don't want to go too far with this because I can't really fully answer that question. I'm giving you as much as I know today. So
we have whoever answered that question. We will get back directly with you. I think there's some question back and forth we want to go about what specific security requirements do you have, so that we can be more specific in how we answer that question.
Okay,
do you want to answer?
So I'll just read the question, and whoever wants to answer can answer. So the next question: we run a JDE ERP system with a few items that are serialized. Do you have demos to showcase how the inventory management apps work within JDE?
Okay, I'll take that. We don't have a demo, but what we're putting together now, since this is a cloud-based solution, and we're going to have specific tenants set up so that we can expose that information to customers that want to be able to test and look at the serial number or any of the other applications. So we're working on being able to provide that kind of connectivity, but we don't have it right now.
On the wire question, DSI Wire, does the created user interface work in all three mobile platforms? Today it supports iOS and Android, which are the two target platforms that were supported at the time that we made the acquisition of the technology and the team. We are looking into Windows support and have done some R&D around that, but we're not ready to make an announcement about that. I'll also go ahead and take the solution, the cloud hosting model. Will the solution include private, public, and hybrid cloud options? Both of our cloud offerings, hosting the platform in the cloud, as well as the cloud-based inventory management capabilities, are a hybrid cloud option in the sense that there's an on-premise gateway that connects up to the cloud, acts as a control point, security point for all transactions and data transmitted to and from the cloud. So in some people's definition, that's a hybrid model. When it gets to the cloud, it's in a public cloud environment, which, as Michael mentioned, we have significant security around. We secure the pipe, we secure the data in movement, we secure the data at rest, and the DSI platform itself can be hosted on-prem or in a private or hosted way. What we have not yet examined or committed to is being able to host the cloud-based inventory management solution in a private cloud environment. There aren't any technical limitations to the way that it's been architected, but it at least initially will not be a supported deployment configuration. And there's another question about pricing, and again, we'll have to defer that to a later date. When we get closer to the ship date on the cloud-based inventory management solution, we will obviously be fully transparent about the pricing model there, but we're still examining a few different options.
Okay, I think that is all we have for questions right now. Like I said, if you do have anything else that you would like to ask us, you can use that info@dsiglobal.com email address, or also you can reach out to your account executive and ask them directly. It was a pleasure having you all on the webinar today. Huge thank you to our three presenters, and please join us next time when we will be talking about our cloud solutions. Have a good day, everybody.